Is not right. Okay, you should probably be able to hear us now. Thank you for letting us know that. Thank you for letting us know that. Uh, Connect with Candy. Can you check now on Facebook? It should be good now. Okay, so we're good. All right, so we said a whole lot just now. So let me see. Let me go back. So first of all,
Just
welcome,
have people join.
welcome. This is our only ask, and this is the one thing that I want to repeat. This is our only ask. Please share this because this is only as good as the folk in the comments. And if you doubt that, go back and watch some other episodes, and you will see that the comments, the folk who come and join us, make this thing what it is. So
Yes, yes,
it's
yes.
have a conversation after dark. It's conversation, it's grown folks conversation, stuff that might be taboo, stuff that might not have been heard in church, stuff that we don't always hear talked about. It's not our goal to give advice, even though we are coaches in the space. It's not our goal to give advice during this show. It's the goal is to get you to have conversation.
Hmm.
We believe that you should be able to talk about everything. Now, should you talk about everything? That's debatable, but you should be able
To
to.
be able to, yes.
And so these conversations are to spark conversations with you as well. We got folk in the house. We got Candy in the house. Thank you for being here. We have Asad in the house, sending love for both of you, man. Sending love right back to you as well. We got to figure out some way to collaborate. I know you are far away from where we are, but we got to figure out a way to collaborate with you. We got some other folk watching as well.
We
Listen,
got our girl Tanisha Pride is watching. What's
Tanisha,
up,
Tanisha,
Tanisha?
what's happening? Listen, shout yourself out in the comments so we can see what's up. So oh man,
What?
sound is scratchy and echo.
Hmm.
Man, what is going on with this thing tonight? All right, let's see.
Scratchy and echo. Hmm. Hey,
Let me. Can I turn this up a little bit?
that's not up. Is it?
Oh,
Yeah, it
yeah.
is. I was just going to ask Tanisha if you can hear us, let us know how the sound, what the sound is like.
So that sounds good. Yeah, I don't know. Married with benefits. I'm not sure why that is the case.
Miss Loretta said it's okay now. It's good now.
Oh, all right,
Okay,
cool. That'll work.
great,
That'll work.
great, great, great.
What's up? So let me catch up with these comments.
Tanisha
Tanisha
said
Pride
it's
is in the house.
fine.
What's good, fam? What's good? It's better now. Excellent, excellent. Philly
Thanks,
in the house.
guys.
Philly in the house. Tell Jamal what's up.
Yes, indeed.
What's
Hello,
happening?
Jamal.
Thank you for being here as well. Loretta said it's good now. Loretta,
Okay,
thank you
cool.
for being
Good,
here.
good.
We appreciate you. All right, so listen, let's jump in. Right. So if you saw the title tonight is if you don't meet my needs, someone else will.
Mm, mm,
That's
mm.
the title. So what we're talking about now is we're talking about should should my sense of self-worth be tied to my relationship? Number 1, should should I it's messing
Sorry.
up.
Yeah, my ear thing
It's coming out.
thing. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Should my sense of self-worth be tied to my relationship? Is that even a thing? And should that even be a thing? Number 1, if things are not happening, if my needs are not being met, and I'm beginning to feel some kind of way about that, can I now blame my infidelity on the fact that someone else came along and met those most important emotional needs? Now, what we're going to use to tee that conversation up is this video that I'm going to play, right? Shout out to Dr. Parks. Hopefully he joins, but shout out to Dr. Parks for sending this video
Yeah.
to us. And we're going to go ahead and play this video. And this video will be,
Hopefully it doesn't mess up the sound or anything.
it shouldn't. I
And
think,
hopefully you'll be able to hear it.
yeah, you should be able to hear it. You should be able to hear it because I got the audio set up. So let's share this video. Let's play this video,
Okay, go ahead.
and then we'll talk about it. Um,
I've been married twice and I was never a good husband. The second time, I've been married twice and I was never a good husband. The second time I was a good husband for the first 8 or 9 years. But after a while, I wasn't getting certain things at home. Never initiated sex, never made me feel sexy, never made me feel good about myself. Only time she ever told me she loved me was when I was walking out the door, but I never felt love. And it was, nothing was happening at home. And even when I would ask her for sex, it would be like, can I get a rain check? Like, fuck, I'm gonna get a rain check. Say the damn store, say the damn Piggly Wiggly. You know what I mean? And so that kept on happening, and I did not feel good about myself, and I became depressed. So I understand where he's coming from. I started gaining weight, and after a while, I did not want to cheat because I had been faithful for a long period of time, and I tried to stay there because my first marriage, I was a dog. I really was a dog. So I was trying to do it the right way. And then eventually, you run into somebody that tells you everything that you want to hear. I've been married twice, and I was never a good husband. The second time.
All right. So there you have it. He said that after a while, he wasn't getting what he needed at home. And that now caused him to be depressed. It caused him to start gaining weight. And then someone came along and said everything he needed to hear.
My first
All right, let's
question
go.
is,
Let's go.
Did he say anything to his spouse about how he was feeling? Or did he just go on out there and, well, I ain't getting it here, so I'm going to get it somewhere else? I'm wondering, did he talk to his spouse? Because that's the first thing that I think needs to happen.
Okay. So hold that thought for a second. Here's a question I want to throw out to those of you that are in the comments. It's two questions, and you can tag team, you can do whatever you want to do with these questions. First question is, should my sense of self-worth be tied to my relationship so much so that if something isn't happening that should be happening, that now I am becoming depressed and I am now gaining weight and all of the things that go along with that? Should those two things be tied together? Number one. Number two, if the answer to that question is yes, can I now justify my infidelity because I'm not getting what I should be getting?
No.
I can't justify my infidelity.
No,
Why?
Of course not.
Why?
Because you're in a covenant relationship.
Okay.
That you can't break the covenant no matter what. It happens. Yes, I understand that it happens. Even if you're not getting it at home. And I don't think either that my sense of self-worth should be tied to how my spouse is or is not making me feel. I think that that's God.
Okay. And I'm with you. So I'm not disputing what you're saying. Here's another perspective, though. Because we're human, if I'm not treating you a certain way and I'm not loving you the way you desire, and I'm not, like, I'm doing things like he talked about, and forgive me, I meant to say this, forgive me, I didn't tee it up to say that there was going to be a little bit of profanity, so I hope that didn't offend anybody. If it did, my apologies. I should have teed that up at first. But he was saying how when he would even approach her for sex, she would be like, well, I need a rain check. Right? So things like that just kind of chip away at you. You don't think that would have some effect on yourself, even if you're not trying to tie your self-worth to this relationship? Your self-worth would be affected.
I think that it's natural. It would be natural for me to be like, man, what is it about me? That's a question. For me to say, I am this, I must be this, it's gotta be me, I am that. That is me targeting my self-worth. But I think that the question is natural. What is it about me? But that's not saying or labeling who I am. That's just questioning, what is it about me?
Mhm.
What am I doing or not doing? That's not labeling or giving myself a title that attacks my self-worth. I think the questions would come naturally,
Okay.
but it shouldn't be, you know, I've got to be this, it must be me. That is a statement.
I get
Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah, I get that. I get that. What's up? What's up, Regina? Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Um,
Hi,
but
Regina.
here's the thing though. If you're even if you're getting to the space where you are questioning, aren't you feeling something at that point? Like, isn't your self-worth being affected? If you're at the point now where you're questioning, man, is it me? What am I doing? Why she ain't, why she ain't trying to holler at me? What's the problem? At that point, don't you think that's an indication that your self-worth is taking a hit?
I kind of think not. I think that your self-worth will take a hit if you allow the enemy to speak that and you receive it and
Mhm.
accept it. But I don't think that it's just a natural question because something is wrong in the relationship. Naturally, if something is wrong in our relationship,
Mhm.
I'm going to look at both sides. Is it me? Is it him?
Mhm.
That's what I'm going to do. That's not my self-worth being attacked or anything like that, in my opinion.
So, as we often do, let me put myself in this as opposed to homeboy, right?
Okay.
So you remember there was an episode, and if you haven't caught any of these, go back and watch the other conversations. They are fantastic. So let me put myself in it. We had a conversation recently. Well, it wasn't recently, but it was an episode way back where we were talking about initiation, right? And I was saying how there are times where
What's up, Camilla?
I don't initiate because I don't want to deal with rejection.
Right.
Part of the reason why I don't want to deal with rejection is because if I come to you and I'm gung ho and I'm feeling some
Raring
kind
to
of way
go.
and I'm ready to go, and you shoot it down, I'm gonna feel some kind of way. Now, I'm just gonna be man enough to admit
But what
that
does feel some kind of way mean?
I'm
Does your self-worth feel like it's
gonna explain
been
it to you.
okay.
Because here's the thing, and listen, I'm gonna go out on this limb, guys. You don't got to go out on this limb with me. Some will say, some will label it simp, some will say what they punk, whatever they want to say. But I'm just gonna be honest and say, if my wife rejects me for any reason, I'm gonna be sitting down here like, okay, what's really good, and not what's really good in terms of how bad you were, but what's really good in terms of, okay, why she ain't feeling me like that. I am. I'm gonna just keep it a buck. I am. What's up? Helen is in the house. What's up, Helen? Thank you for
Hi,
tuning in.
Helen.
Appreciate that. Camilla's in the house. What's happening? Camilla's in the house. We were
That's
just
my
talking
girl.
about your t-shirt. It's sitting over here on the thing right here. Tanisha said, naturally, your self-worth will take a hit.
Okay, Tanisha
because
agrees with you.
the one you're submitting to is constantly rejecting you. It's a tough blow.
It's a tough blow.
It's a tough blow. Tanisha said exactly.
Okay.
Right?
So
okay. So now let's fast forward. Let's go to my man right here who was like, if I'm just consistent, and this is my words, it's not exactly what he said, but my words is, okay, if I'm gonna consistently do that, his words were, at some point, someone comes along who does and says everything.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And you're telling me that I'm not justified after all that has taken place. I'm not justified in rolling out.
Huh? Rolling out?
Yeah, to the other person.
Oh, okay. I still do not think so.
Okay.
Understandably, what's happening? Okay, you feel this kind of way. This other person is giving you everything that you're not getting at home. I get it. I understand. However, you better try and talk to your spouse and be like, look, somebody else over here is giving me whatever it is that you're not giving me. I'm not trying to threaten you or anything like that, but this is really hard for me. What is the problem? We need counseling, blah, 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 whatever. Because I feel like it's still a covenant at the end of the day. I just can't picture myself doing that. I'm not perfect Lord knows, by no stretch of the imagination. But I don't know. I mean, I guess because we've never been in that position, it's hard to even say what we would do or not do. Why are you laughing?
Because I got a question for you. Regina says, so do I feel like something's wrong with me. Okay.
Mm,
Camilla said it's understandable,
not
not justifiable.
justifiable.
Okay. Okay. Jamal said cheating is not justified and never will be, but I understand it.
Exactly.
Okay. Now let me ask you a
Yep,
question.
exactly.
You just said that the person should go to their spouse and be like, hey, someone else is trying to do what that should be done. Can I come to you and say that?
I would think so, yes. Why not?
I can come to you and say that.
You don't think you could?
I can come to you and be like, hey, babe, so-and-so is really,
I mean,
she's saying all the right things. She want to do all the right things. And all of these things are missing in our like, how do I come say that to you? All of these things are missing in our relationship. Listen, I'm just letting you know all these things are missing in our relationship. And XYZ, she trying to fill in the gaps.
I mean, it's not a threat, but I feel like I don't know why you're so surprised by that.
I'm wondering how you would take that.
Well, I'm not in the position of this young lady or whoever. So I don't know what her reasoning is for, can I get a rain check? Can I get a rain check? Because I don't feel like that. So I don't know. I can only answer that based on how we are now.
Okay.
And I feel like you could come to me and I'd be like, who is it? Where is she? I need to go,
You would be like, who is it? Where is she? So you can confront her?
Of course.
For what?
What do you mean for what?
What are you going to tell her?
I'm going to tell her to stay away from you.
Yeah, but how does that help us?
I can't speak to that because we're not like that. So I don't know.
And that's why I'm asking you that, because here's the thing. If you confront her about her willingness to fill in the gaps that you ain't filling in, that don't help us. That creates even more problems and probably would even motivate her more to want to fill in the gaps.
Okay.
Let me get these comments. Helen said, I can see why it would happen on both parties, and it's simply because of lack of communication. Okay. So Bavobo said, you can come. The outcome will not be cool.
Exactly.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, I'm not saying it would be cool, but you can come tell me. Yes.
Yeah, but I don't want to come tell you if it's going to be it's got to be results behind me telling you. I'm not just going to tell you so you can be angry at me. That's just going to magnify the problem, because I'm already feeling some kind of way because the gaps are not being filled in and I'm being rejected. I don't know. That's just me. I'm speaking from a man's point of view. That's just me. Communication is definitely important in any relationship, without a doubt. 100%. 100%. No, you can't tell me that. Really? So Regina, how do you fix it then? If he can't tell you, the only option is to just suck it up or go get the gaps filled in. So how? And I'm not saying you're right or wrong for what you're saying, but that's my question. Like, if he can't tell you that, then what does he do? Like, what's the outlet? What's the outlet? Tanisha said exactly. Talk to me. Okay. Christianlyn, it doesn't help the relationship. It doesn't help the relationship if
it doesn't help the relationship at all for anyone to say so, and so does this, and roundabout say that's what you want to. Just be clear in what it is you need in whatever moment.
Okay, I'm with that. And I'm with that. Be clear about what you need. I'm with that. Now, my question, like, y'all know me. I'm not pushing back because I disagree. I'm just pushing back to fuel the conversation. So if I can't, if what I'm saying kind of pseudo is me saying I want to go get the gaps filled in, and if what I should be doing is telling her what I need, what happens when it doesn't happen? So what happens when I go to her and I'm like, hey, this is what I need, babe, and it ain't happening? What happens next? Now you can tell me, but say, hey, these are the things that I think are missing. Okay.
Agreed.
Okay. Communication is not the key. This
That
is
is
such a
such a
misconception
misconception
that
that
society
society has
has told
told
people.
people.
I need you to expand on that. Expand on that. I'm not disagreeing. Just give me a little bit more. Give me a little bit more, because that's a phenomenal opposite perspective, and I love it.
Mhm.
I love getting opposite perspectives. So give me a little bit more on that. Talk to me, and we will work on it. Okay.
Hopefully,
Okay.
could couples therapy be? Oh, my glasses.
Try it at that point. It could be,
Yeah.
but now you're at the mercy of both people wanting to do it.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. Both people have to be willing to
Both
do
people
that.
wanting to do it. Yeah. What's happening? Black Love United is in the house.
What's up?
What's good, fam? Thank you for being here. We're talking about if you don't meet my needs, somebody else will. So we're talking about whether self-worth is and should be tied to the success or failure of your marriage. And is it justifiable? And I use these words for shock value. Is it justifiable to blame my infidelity on the fact that my needs were not being met? Is it justified? And it's based on the video that we showed a little earlier of a clip of this guy who was just saying that his wife had been denying him and talking about giving him a rain check. And he was like, listen, man, my self-worth was taking a hit. I was gaining weight. I was depressed. And then along came somebody who said and did everything I needed.
Mhm. So Camilla's comment says, if it's not happening, maybe ask her what is missing for her. I like that.
That's good.
Because if she's overwhelmed, tired, depressed, she
Mhm.
can't meet your needs without her needs being met. Correct. And this is what I'm saying. Have they talked about this? Or has he just been in his feelings and not saying anything?
And yeah, that's a good point. And you should talk about it. You should talk about it. Married with Benefits said, understanding is the key. I can communicate the issue all day, but if you don't understand, then it's just talking. I love it.
That's good.
Thank you for expanding on that.
That's good.
And I agree 10,000%.
That's good.
10,000%. Oh my. Yes, indeed. oh my is right. Communication gaps aren't justified means to infidelity. Okay.
Correct.
All right. Helen says, Denise, from a woman's perspective, confronting the outside party would definitely appear to be an open door for that party. Interesting.
What party? I don't understand.
So she's talking about when you said you would want to know who it is.
Her, yeah.
Right. So she's saying that basically is a green light. You basically, by confronting this person, you kind of giving them the green light that, okay, something's missing. And so I am pressing the right buttons, because there's some people who think like that. There's some people.
So if I go confront this person, it's giving you the green light?
No, it's giving them. So if you go, there are people who are like this, where if you go confront the person, right, all that does is confirm the fact that something's wrong.
Oh, yeah, I see. Okay.
And then they're like, oh, yeah, so now I really know that I could fill in the gaps. There's some people who that becomes motivation for them instead of a deterrent.
Them being backing off.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That becomes motivation for them to kind of keep pushing on the slot. And they may switch up their tactics and make it a little bit more covert, but that would be a green light for a lot of folks. Right. So, and I get that. So here's the thing. I am going to keep myself from giving any advice, because I do have some, but I really want to hear, like, how would you deal with that? How would you deal with that if everything that's being said in the comments, if you are communicating, if you are understanding what's being communicated and nothing is happening? What do you do?
I think at that point, there's obviously some type of emotional, I don't know, neglect or something going on. You might need to just talk about ways to either fix it or this gotta end.
Okay.
That's, but I'm just still not, I don't know. I'm just big on the whole covenant thing. So
Bavobo said, yep. Helen said exactly what I meant. And here's the thing. I'm not, let me be clear for those of you who are new to this show. I am not by any means suggesting that you divorce. I'm not making no,
Correct.
I'm not pushing anybody in any direction because that's not what this show is about.
Yeah.
But I want to know from you, what would you do? Because here's the thing. Many of the, even though this was based on a video that we played, many of the scenarios that we talk about on Saturday nights actually come out of our coaching playbook, like couples who sit in front of us who have some of these same issues. And I have dealt with the couple who had this same thing where they were not getting what they needed and they were feverishly fighting to stay in covenant, but it was getting tougher and tougher.
Yeah.
Because they were talking about it, they were having conversations about it. Those conversations were always leading to conflict. The other person was always getting offended. The other person was always getting defensive, and nothing was happening.
That's it wasn't being, I feel like the defensive person in that situation was not addressing what the real issue was.
I agree.
Hence the defense mechanism. And that's why they couldn't come to any type of resolution.
I agree. Tanisha said couples therapy and prayer.
Yeah.
Is that's Tanisha's answer. Couples therapy and prayer. Because here's the thing, right? If and we're strictly talking about sexual intimacy at this point, but this applies to everything that is pertinent to a relationship success. If there are gaps, there's obviously an underlying reason.
Yes.
So if there are gaps, part of what needs to take place, and I can't help myself at times, I say this is not about advice, but part of what needs to take place is digging deep enough to find out what these underlying issues are.
Yeah, I think everything needs to be explored. Everything needs to be explored.
Okay.
You need to have these conversations, or at least attempt to, with your spouse. Like Tanisha said, prayer and couples therapy, like everything needs to be explored.
Everything needs to be explored. I'm going to take it a step further, though. So prayer and therapy you can do on your own, right? Preferably, it would be great to have couples therapy. But again, you're at the mercy of the other person actually wanting to do that.
Right.
So prayer and therapy may start out in a singular way.
Correct. Yep.
And praying that it becomes dual in nature at some point. Helen said possibly recommend therapy because of the matrimonial covenant. I do believe that anything can be fixed with the help of the Holy Spirit.
Absolutely. 100%.
Juan Lee is in the house. If you're not familiar with who Juan Lee is, you need to check out Clear Journey, Juan Lee, and he's the author of the book Love Made Simple. Juan, and I agree with you, Juan. What do you think that deeper issue is?
The issue is deeper than this question. The issue is deeper than this question.
The issue is deeper than this question. What do you think the issue is? Now, let me go back to the brother in the video. The brother in the video, right, just for some context, he said in the video that his first marriage, he was a dog. In his second marriage, he was actually trying to be faithful, right? So there's going to be some level of, man, I'm really trying to do my best and this ain't working, right? So some of that, and I'm speculating now, some of that could just be his ego is bruised,
right?
Because he's just trying to do what he feels like is the right thing to do, and it ain't working for him. So that could play a role in the whole self-worth thing. The other side of that coin is now he's not getting what he needs, right? So listen, I'm not going to give the answer. And the reason why I'm not going to give the answer is because Here's what I encourage you to do. If you've never had this conversation with your spouse, and I am going to give some advice now. If you've never had this conversation with your spouse, I encourage you to have the conversation around what strategy do we put in place if you feel like your needs aren't being met.
Yeah. Yes, 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 yes.
Brainstorm and strategize that ahead of time.
Yeah.
Don't wait till you in the thick of things and Susie or Eric is offering
And that's not to
assistance.
say that this situation will happen. But
Right.
just like we said last week at the retreat that we
Mhm.
facilitated, it's not to say that this situation will happen in your relationship. However, we prepare for seasons, right?
Right.
That's what we said
Mhm.
last week. You know that spring is coming, and so in the wintertime, when you go outside, you prepare your yard and you prepare your lawn and you start planting bulbs and blah 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 for the springtime.
Yep.
You don't prepare for, you don't necessarily wait until something. You can't wait until spring is here and then plant your bulbs.
Right. Unless you're
Because-
Oliver.
Or unless you're Denise.
Yeah, because we don't know what we doing.
Right.
We don't know
But
what
you
we
get
doing.
the picture.
So
You prepare.
here's the thing, right? We all have experienced fire drills.
Mhm,
Whether it was in school, whether it's at your job, we've all experienced fire drills.
mhm.
Going through a fire drill does not mean you want the building to catch on fire.
Right.
But now you know what will happen if, God forbid,
Mhm.
that takes place, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's the same thing. Like, you need to know, like, this is a conversation you need to have.
I'm
Like-
curious to Juan Lee's answer though.
All right, let me get
He
to
didn't
it.
answer, right?
No, he didn't answer yet.
Okay.
Tanisha said perhaps his second wife didn't trust him due to his record with
I
the
thought
first
about
wife.
that. I thought about that when you were talking about when he
That
said
could
that
be.
he was a dog. I thought
could
maybe
be.
she has apprehensions of, man, look what he did to his first wife. Is that going to happen to me?
Mhm.
And that can mess with your psyche.
It
And
can.
that can make you,
It can.
you know how women are. Like if
Mhm.
they have stuff on their mind, they're not going to necessarily they're not like men. They can't separate whatever's on their mind and then want to have sex.
Yeah.
Women can't do that. So I wonder
Unfortunately.
if that's unfortunately. So I wonder if that is what
Mhm.
her issue is.
It could be. It
I
could
thought
be.
about that too.
And here's what happens. Typically, when you become stressed and worried about a particular thing, you actually begin to take steps.
Yeah.
Unbeknownst to, like, just psychologically.
Yeah.
You begin
Subconsciously.
That's what I was looking for. Begin to take steps in the direction of the thing you don't want to happen.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, if let's say, for example, that's the case, because we don't know that. Now she's withholding, which is actually causing exactly what she's afraid of to happen.
Look at Tanisha's comment.
Let's get to
next
Tanisha.
one.
All right. So Jamal said he could also feel entitled because he said, I'm doing right now, so I deserve this. That's good.
That's a good observation.
That's good. Gamal
Yeah.
Alexander is
What's
in the
up,
house.
Gamal?
What's good, fam? Thank you for being here, man. We're talking about whether infidelity, in a nutshell, what we talking about is whether infidelity is justifiable if your needs aren't being met. Because if you ain't meeting my needs, somebody else will. Helen said, I thought the same. I thought the same. Juan is back. Juan said, one person in this situation has to know that there is some pain in this area that is bigger than the issue. Then you have to understand that the relationship is bigger than sex. It is a very big part, but you have to be strong to protect the relationship.
I got to read that again. One person in this situation has to know that there is some pain in this area that is bigger than the issue.
So it's bigger than sex. There's something going on that's bigger than just the neglect, the sexual neglect, basically.
Yeah, I would say on her part.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Evangelist Javid, thank you for being here. Good evening to you, man. Thank you for being here. Blessings on you as well. Watching from Pakistan. Wow. I love it. I love it. Thank you for being here. and being a part of this conversation. We appreciate you. So here's the thing, right? This is a tough one, and this is a tough one because if we're being really honest, the truth is your infidelity is not justifiable due to neglect.
Your infidelity is not justifiable.
It's not.
Correct.
And that's hard.
Yep.
And listen, fellas, sisters, I know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's not easy because if she wasn't giving me what I need, who knows? I'm gonna just keep it a buck. Who knows? I don't know.
Okay.
I would think that I would be forthcoming in coming to speak to you. I would think that you would be understanding. Are you paying attention to me right now?
I'm reading Gamal's comment.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. Go ahead. I was reading Gamal's comment.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm gonna throw it up in a second.
Yeah.
So I would think that I would be forthcoming. I would think that you would be understanding. I would think that we would be able to work this out. But here's the thing, that because that has some psychological and mental repercussions, if you will, that level of neglect for a lot of people, I'm not going to say for everybody, but for a lot of people has some psychological components attached to it.
Okay.
You can't really say what you would do if somebody came along and it was like, man, and if the time, just the right time, the enemy opens the right door, there's a right wedge, like all the stars align, like you don't know what you're going to do.
I agree.
You don't know what you're going to do.
I agree.
Gamal said, question, what is the role of sexual responsibility in relationship? Do I have any duty or sexual responsibility to my partner as a man, as a woman? Should I put safeguards in place to meet sexual needs, or are those needs optional or even negligible? I ask because we often dismiss sex when, in fact, it may be more important to a relationship than we're letting on. So, Gamal, my brother, that's excellent. Those are excellent questions because what we often see is sex is the first thing that gets swept away.
Yeah.
Sex is the first thing that is dropped on the list of priorities, right? It is often that, right? So what's the role of sexual responsibility in a relationship? Now, I can answer that for us, but I think everybody has to answer that for themselves. Number one, you need to know that going in. Again, we're talking about having a conversation. Your spouse should know how important sex is to you.
To you, correct? Yes.
1,000%.
Yes.
Like that should not be left to chance.
Yeah.
Especially when there are scenarios like, if we put ourselves on Front Street, when there are scenarios like desire discrepancy, we can't just be winging it.
Yeah.
With desire discrepancy, because somebody's always going to be feeling some kind of way.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Right. So to answer that second question, do I have any duty or sexual responsibility to my partner? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. And should you put safeguards in place? You should. And part of those safeguards is you being able to have a conversation and map out some level of strategy on how you're going to work this out, so that there is no chance for somebody to fill in gaps.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think the responsibility and the safeguards, it's not cookie cutter for every relationship. And that is why the conversations need to be had.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Just, you're right, bro. It's
What's
heavy.
Up, Just?
The topic is heavy. And a lot of times, here's the mistake that we make. I'm gonna tell you the mistake that we make often, and this is to speak to what Gamal was just saying.
Your committee to your spouse, your
commitment,
your commitment to your spouse is bigger than sex.
I agree with that. I agree with that. It's bigger than sex. It's bigger holistically than sex.
However, like Gamal said, it shouldn't be dismissed when in fact it is that, well, Gamal said more important to a relationship than we're letting on. I
Right.
believe that it is bigger than sex,
It is bigger than sex.
but it should not be ignored or dismissed,
Mhm.
to Gamal's point.
If sex is a huge component,
Dr. Parks is here.
if sex is a huge component, then it should, well, it shouldn't be dismissed at all. Let's be clear about that. You might disagree, you might agree. It shouldn't be dismissed at all.
Right.
That's just our thought on that.
Mm-hmm.
But if it is a huge priority, you cannot not address that.
Correct.
And I think the mistake that many of us make is that we downplay, dare I say, we ridicule folk who have sex at a high priority.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why you need it all the time like that? Why is it so important to you?
Mhm.
Why, you know, and then so now in my mind, I'm trying to suppress the thing that's natural for me and the thing that I love about our interaction because I'm feeling like I got a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But then the next person comes along who makes me feel like what my priority level is fantastic. Now I'm confused, but I'm also kind of intrigued because I really would like to experience that other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where the door opens up.
Mm-hmm.
Doc Parks is the person who actually sent us the video that we used earlier today for this conversation. Doc, good to see you, bro.
What's
you
up?
can't blame infidelity on your partner not meeting your needs
or withholding from you. If you cheat, you did it because you wanted to. No one can make you do something you don't want to do. However, you can create an environment that would lead someone to cheat. Agree. 100%.
100%. And shout out to you, Doc, for sending Nisi the video. That's what we used for this conversation today. So thank you for that.
I think in this day, this is Chrissy. I think in this day and age, too many people are trying to create loopholes to their wayward ways. Too many unequally yoked individuals. Too many people choosing to be uneducated on the topic, and way too many folk in relationships but never really wanted to be in one long term. Good points.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. I agree with that. What happens if your spouse is unable to have sex anymore? Good question.
That is where, and I say it all the time,
Good question.
That is where we cannot depend solely
Good question
on sexual intimacy. And sex is a broad word.
It is a broad word.
Sex is not just
it's
intercourse.
Not just intercourse, right?
And so
I agree.
We got to come up with ways that we can have sex, you know, because it's not just intercourse. And I think a lot of times when people say we can't have sex anymore or they can't have sex anymore, they're saying they can't have intercourse anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Sex is bigger than just intercourse.
Yeah.
And so there are other ways that we can have sex with our spouse. Additionally, intimacy on a holistic level needs to be intact.
Yeah.
I talked about this too last week at the retreat, how if you don't know, you'll know eventually if you follow me long enough, that I'm going through menopause. And so sexual intimacy, my libido has lowered. However, I think you've handled it like a champ. You got a smirk on your face.
No, I'm listening. All I'm doing is listening. That's it. At this point.
I feel like you've handled it like a champ, and I've really, really tried to be mindful of how this is affecting you. That said, there are times, we might go like almost a week, long stretches of time, almost a week. But I think that because the other areas of intimacy for us are really, really good, that we handle that pretty well. Would you say?
I would say, and I'm glad that we began to work on that, because to speak to Juan's question, if you asked me that question 15 years ago,
right,
I'll be like, yo,
yeah,
we got a problem.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
I'm just going to be 100.
I agree.
15 years ago, because I wasn't thinking about intimacy holistically, and there were some things that we just weren't really like being intentional about. If you were to be like, if Niecy couldn't have sex anymore, I'd have been like, fam,
I don't know about this.
this is gonna be a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I get with that. I get with that. Helen said in this era, the discussion up front would definitely be necessary as to what should be expected by from both parties in a relationship or marriage.
Mhm.
Listen, we tell people all the time, especially those that are not married,
Mhm.
because when you're married, now you kind of have to unlearn some things and relearn some things in order to get into this space where you are negotiating and brainstorming and crafting strategy. But if you are not married, you better not go into a marriage winging it. You better not go into a marriage without having these kinds of conversations, because it is tougher to build an airplane while you're flying than it is to build it on the ground and then take it up.
Yeah. 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 Put Gamal's comment up. I like it.
Tanisha said 100.
Yes. Yes, Tanisha. I'm
All
going
right.
to
Oh
push.
yeah, I love this. I love pushback. Let's do it.
I'm going to push back just a bit. When we describe a relationship as bigger than sex, the underlying notion is that sex is somewhat negligible and even optional. Agree. We can have it or do without it, but we can still continue a healthy relationship. I disagree. I disagree too. Unless there are legitimate medical issues, we should not dismiss sex. Sex is one of the most important parts of a marriage, a bonding agent. You say that all the time.
Mhm.
That is necessary for marital health. It is unfair to sentence anyone to a sexless marriage and
Oh, it didn't show me everything.
oh, it didn't show the rest of your comment, Gamal.
Oh, it's not. I
It's
don't know
not,
where it was.
yeah.
So it didn't. But yeah, I'm with that. I'm with
Mm-hmm.
that 100%.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
and here's the thing. And to speak to what you're saying, Gamal, we got to be careful,
Mm.
because we got to be careful, because that is situational.
What is situational?
Just the whole, one being bigger than the other. It's situational, because there are scenarios where they're like, so if there's medical reasons,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
If there are some other things that are taking place that allow for certain aspects of the sexual experience to be unavailable, now we have to work with couples to be able to fulfill meeting the needs in that particular area of intimacy using other means.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? But we don't always do that.
Mm-hmm.
And because we don't always make it favorable
Right.
to do that.
Right.
Like, how many conversations have you heard in church that talk about other ways to meet sexual needs?
None. Ever.
Right.
None.
So I get that. And so sometimes the disparity is so large,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no room for negotiation that teaches couples how to navigate this in a way that doesn't land them in infidelity. But here's the thing. Then when infidelity happens, then we want to beat them over the head.
Yeah, that's good.
Like, you can't do both.
That's good.
I mean, you can't not give tools and then be mad. Like, you can't do that. As negative as a situation like infidelity is, the truth of the matter is, you can't not have tools and get mad when they do something. You just can't.
Yeah.
We do, because we're human beings. But if we were really honest and we stepped outside of ourselves, you
Mm-hmm.
can't do both.
Yeah.
You can't.
Example, this is Dr. Parks. What is the difference between a tomato? Oh, I thought it said tomato. Difference between a tornado watch and a tornado warning. Watch equals conditions are favorable. Warning equals one has been sighted. In relationships, there is always a storm brewing. When there is withholding, conditions are favorable. Very good. This is when you check in, have the hard conversations, work it out. However, most couples sit out on the porch and wait for the warning. Then it's too late. What a great analogy. The tornado has been sighted, other female or male, and it rips the home apart.
That's good, fam.
The best analogy ever.
That's good, man.
That's
Bobo
good,
said
Dr.
exactly.
Parks.
It is biblical. Bobo said Gamal 100.
Mm-hmm.
100. Evangelist said yes. Juan Lee is in the house. You're talking about the power. You are talking about the power of bondage. Expand on that, Juan. I think I know where you're going, but expand on that. Expand on that. Helen said, I love Oliver's definition of the plane. Yeah. Yeah. That's good, Doc Parks.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's good. That was really good.
That's good. That's good. We can always count on Doc to
Yes.
drop some gems on us. It's unfair to sentence someone to a sexless marriage and use the excuse, but
you'd better not cheat.
Right.
That's a cop-out.
I agree.
I'm married. I can't neglect my partner any more than I would neglect my children.
Mhm.
I've taken care of my kids to the best of my ability, even while I was sick.
Mhm.
I didn't do the same things I'd do when I was well, but I took care of them. My daughter has made me mad this week. I still didn't leave her to fend for herself.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That, man, great points.
Yeah. What's up, Tana?
What's up, Tana? Tana's in the house. What's good? Thank you for being here. She said, that's good, Doc Parks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doc. So shout out to Doc for those who didn't hear this. The video we played that is even that's the basis of this conversation was sent to us by Doc. So appreciate you for that, fam. Juan said the church. So let me go back. Juan said you're talking about the power of bondage. The church. Give me some more, Juan, because I know where you're going. Like, give me some more. Like, give me the whole thing. So everybody could put it in context. I know where you're going, though. I know exactly where you're going. So here's the thing, because we coming down to the end. This is good, man. This is a good conversation. I kind of don't want to end because it's kind of coming down to the end. Jason just said we need a part 2. We probably do need a part 2 on this one, bro. We probably do need a part 2. You're right. We probably do need a part 2 on this one because, as just said earlier, this is a heavy topic, and it is one that, let me just say, because we can do this, it is one that I don't hear. We are faith-based people, so let's put that out there first. It is one that I do not hear talked about. I see people getting beat over the head when they do something wrong on one end of the spectrum. On the other end of the spectrum, I see people being told to accept anything in the name of covenant. And neither one of those two things are right. Let's be clear about that. So here are the two extremes. One, we're going to ridicule and we are going to berate and we are going to put in hell those who fall prey to temptation. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we're going to also tell them that they should just accept anything in the name of covenant. Neither one of those two things are right. Let's be clear about that. All right. So, Evangelist Javid, when we are busy with the Lord and listen and understand the words of God's word and act on it, our family will always be strong and we will grow in love. With Danan, we will love our families in the same way. Yeah. Agreed. Part 2. All right. That's what's up. We're going to do it. That's what's up. You said that the church can't talk out of both sides of the neck. Okay. So I knew that's where you were going. That's why I said that. That's why I said that, bro. Because I knew that's where you were going. And we can't, right? So we have to give, here's what we got to do. We have to give people the tools to navigate this. And that's what's missing. You cannot tell somebody to accept something in the name of covenant. Now, here's the thing. I agree that there are some components of a covenant that we should uphold. But what we tell them to do is uphold these components of the covenant and don't tell them how to do it. And so then when they slip up because they don't know how to do it and they end up doing what dude said, then we beat them over the head. And you can't, if you're not going to help them, you can't ridicule them.
Mm.
You just can't. Let me catch up on these comments. Doc Park said, if your
If your
husband,
husband or
wife,
wife chose you and it can only be you and they can't cheat, why would you withhold? He or she better not cheat, but you are withholding. Ridiculousness.
yeah, I agree. I agree.
Mercy, mercy,
So
mercy.
we got to show folk how to, because here's the thing, it's doable. There are things you can do to help. So it's just, yeah, I agree. I agree, Doc.
Luke 17:1. This is Gamal speaking. Temptations to sin are sure to come, but woe to the one through whom they come.
Wow. Yeah. If we're going to be honest, the people that do the most are the church going folks. I
Listen.
can't tell you how many I see on a Saturday night and then on Sunday and then Sunday asking for someone not to mention. Man, that's crazy, fam. And you right.
Ooh, that's
You
true.
you right about that.
The
Church is
church is
scared,
scared to talk about this.
bro. And here, and you know what? You know what, Just? I agree with you. I think there's two sides of this. One, the church is scared to talk about it. But then I think that there are, in some cases, it has not been talked about for so long, we don't even know what to say. We don't even know we're supposed to be saying something. So there's some people, they don't want to broach the topic because they just don't want to deal with it. But I think for some churches, they don't even know they're supposed to be saying something.
Yeah.
Because we've been living crazy for so long.
Yeah, generations.
All we think we're supposed to do is say some stuff to people about how they're supposed to live and then attack them when they don't live that way.
Yeah.
We don't even know we're supposed to do something in the middle.
To Bobo's point, I don't think they're scared. They're just ignorant to the matter. Yeah.
Yeah. And now I think there are some who are scared.
Mm.
Absolutely. Because they just don't want to deal with it. But then you got to deal with the repercussions of it anyway.
Yeah. When you read the Word of God teaches you how to live with the people around you and how to love your family, because everything is answered in the Word of God. One should follow the words of God, I'm assuming.
Agreed.
Correct. But we're human and we don't always do that.
Agreed. Now, we just said, just to speak to what you said, Evangelist, we just said this last week in the retreat, that everything that's necessary for you to live a successful married life is in the Bible. Now, everybody don't believe in the Bible, and I recognize that holistically as a book. But if we're talking about principle wise, there's stuff in there that will help you. Definitely. We chastise this. Go ahead. What are you about to say?
No, I was just gonna say I agree with what Evangelist said. However, we mess up every day. So I think that we have to be really careful with God says this, God says this, God says this, the word of God says this. It does, and I agree with it 100%. However, because we're human, there's that.
And
do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. And that's why we need to be able to follow that up with systems and programs that help people, that walk people through how to live this out.
Yeah.
And we don't do that.
Yeah.
We chastise the sin, but not the ones who caused them to sin. Both are wrong. Both will be liable before God. I dare say the one who cheats and the one who willfully withholds are both guilty in the sight of God, according to Scripture. Deep.
Yeah.
Bobo said exactly. I don't think they are scared. They are ignorant to the matter. Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both, depending on where you're at. Like anything in life, from a child, you can't tell them to do something without explaining how to do it. I agree. Evangelist said yes. Just as the church preaches on every book in the Bible, but the book of Song of Solomon. That book answers a lot. It does, bro.
That's true.
It does.
That's true. I've never heard a pastor preach on that.
Yeah.
Ever, ever, ever.
When we read God's word, God forbids everything, and God keeps this relationship strong in the fear of God because we live in the fear of God. And then we follow everything that God says. It is written in the word. Yep. It is. Man, listen, this is good, man. This is good. We've come down to the end of the time, man. I think we might have to do a part 2 on this, but yeah, this is good. And let me bookend it the way we started. You have to have these conversations, and you have to craft strategy around how you will navigate these things, right? For those of us who are faith-based folks, you're going to incorporate the word of God into that strategy. You're going to incorporate the conversations that you have into that strategy. You're going to
Yeah.
incorporate maybe therapy into that strategy.
Yeah.
You're going to incorporate educating yourself around certain things into that strategy,
Mm-hmm.
which will keep you from finding yourself in a place where you got to navigate this and you don't know how.
Mm-hmm.
So, just want to say that that's what this is all about. Tanisha said part 2. Yes, we're going to have a part 2.
Mm-hmm.
This is good. We're going to have a part 2. Carlene, thank you for being here. Carlene said part 2, please. Yes. Yes.
We'll have to work that
We're
out.
going to have to work that out. A lot of part 2s. Hey, Doc Parks, we might have to have you for part 2 of this, right? And you were thinking what I'm thinking, Just make part 2 a panel discussion. You're right. Because I may have to bring,
I was thinking that too.
might have to bring Doc in here and get a couple people in here for part 2.
And
So yeah, let's set that up.
Gamal.
Gamal, let's set that up. See if we can do that. Doc said if the church really discussed the issues that matter, there would probably be less sexual immorality in the church. I don't know. Maybe I'm just reaching. No, you're not, bro.
No, I think that's true.
No, you're not.
That's true.
You're not. The part of the reason why many of us find ourselves in the situations that we find ourselves in is because the main place
Mm-hmm.
that was designed to help provide guidance and instruction to us did not do so.
Correct. Yeah.
Let's just keep it a buck.
Mm-hmm.
Park said I'm available. Gamal said I'd be honored to participate. All right, I'm gonna set that up. We're gonna do that for part 2. Tanisha, we might have to get you in here for part 2 as well. You and Jamal.
Yes.
Let's get you in for part 2 as well, so we can get this panel thing. Bavobo said, oftentimes sex is so taboo. It is.
It is. Too many times.
It is too many times.
Too many times.
Too many times. So listen, we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna let y'all get to the rest of your Saturday night. Tanisha said, let's go. Cool. All right. So we're gonna make that happen. We're gonna let you get to the rest of your Saturday night. Thank you for being a part of this. Listen, I don't have this queued up and the dates are gonna be wrong. So I'm gonna put this up, but just listen to the dates because these are not the right dates, right? So we are doing a couples week of prayer. For those of you who are prayer folks, for those of you who are people of faith, we are doing a couples week of prayer. It is starting on March the 3rd. Okay. So that's the wrong date. That's when we were going to do it. But it's March the 3rd through March the 9th. Just if you follow us on social media, you will see the post. There's already one post up. If you are a person of prayer, if you desire prayer, if you just want to stick around and hear what we're going to say, come hang out with us for that week. It's going to be every morning at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't worry if you're not a morning person, you can catch the replays when you get up. Next thing I want to every time I get on now, I'm gonna shout out my wife. My wife has a heart for single moms, and there is a new release for single moms called the Dear Single Mommy Journal and Planner. You can not no longer pre-order. It's not pre-order anymore. It's just available.
It's available
right
now.
So denali.org/shop. Go there and grab that as well. We got some stuff coming up that we're going to be restarting. We're restarting Inside the Relationship in the spring. So look out for Inside the Relationship. That is coming back. We're looking forward to that as well. That is a show all about relationships. Now, we do give advice in that show. So be on the lookout for that. If you're not following us, make sure you're following us wherever you're watching this. If you're not following us on YouTube, if you're not subscribe to us on YouTube. Thank you for being the best part of this conversation.
This was a really good discussion.
And we will set up part 2 with a panel discussion. I will reach out to Tanisha and Jamal and Gamal and Doc Parks, and we'll put this thing together to get this thing going so we can do a part 2, because this is a great topic. And
Yeah.
I think it's something
It's
that
needed.
needs to be touched on, and we need to be able to give tools to folk on how to navigate these kinds of situations, because
Mhm.
we're so quick to make judgments on people who fall,
Mm.
but we are not as quick to help people and give them tools that could keep them from falling.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we got to do better.
Yeah.
We got to do better on that. Regina said, "You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you." Helen, have a blessed night.
Good
You
night,
as well.
Helen.
You as well. Juan asked a question, right? Juan asked a question while we trying to get out of here. Juan trying to start up again. When is being human not
Not an
an excuse for doing the right thing?
When is being human not an excuse to do the right thing?
It's not.
It's not an excuse.
It's not.
It's not an excuse at all. However, we need to take that into consideration and just know that every single day
Mhm.
we all sin. That's my point.
Yeah, it's not an
It's
excuse.
not an excuse at all.
I'll tell you
It's
what
a fact.
I'll tell you what it is too. It's all the more reason why we should be doing exactly what you're doing, Juan, which is what Clear Journey is doing, which is giving people tools to navigate and to be able to overcome life's challenges. The problem is we don't give nobody no tools.
Mm.
And then we have a problem with the fact that they don't know how to use tools. I'm not supposed to know how to use tools if you didn't show me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so the very thing that you're doing, Juan, is what needs to happen in all areas, especially in this relationship area as well. So
I mean, yeah, okay. This is over.
no,
Sorry.
say what you're saying.
I was just gonna say, like, even with the tools,
Mhm.
people know what to do. And not often, people know what to do, even with the tools.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean that they are always going to do it.
That's true.
That's
true.
That's what the blood of Jesus is for, because
That's
he
true.
knew that we weren't going to always get it right. So it's not that people are making excuses. We all know what the right thing is to do. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to do it.
That's true. I
Right.
agree with that. Now, some of us don't know what the right thing is to do.
Some of us don't agree 100%.
Yeah. But I'm with you.
To the point of we know what the right thing is to do.
Mhm.
We can't use being human as an excuse not to do the right thing. I agree, but
Mhm.
we don't always, because we're human again.
Don't always do the right
That's
thing.
what the blood of Jesus is for.
Yeah. So between that and some education, hopefully we can get folk having these conversations. And that's what this is all about. Have a conversation after dark is for you to have conversations around things that will enhance your relationship or will just put you in a space where you get to learn each other, because conversation, I say this all the time, is a catalyst for growth.
Yeah.
It is a catalyst for bonding, and you just should be having conversations.
What
right?
tolls? I don't know what that means.
Terrence, what's good, fam? Thank you for being here. I think you meant what tools, maybe.
Oh. Okay.
And there are a lot of them. Maybe we'll go into that in part 2. If you're just coming in, just catch the replay so you catch the context of what's going on. We're gonna do a part 2 of this as well. We're gonna get out of here, fam. Appreciate you. Thank you all for being here. Dope conversation as usual. And listen, blessings on you. Have a conversation, right? Get in the habit of talking about stuff with your mate, right? It allows you to learn some things, man, and it allows you to craft some strategy. Like, man, I didn't really know you felt that way. Okay, what do you think we should do?
Yeah.
What should we put in place to make sure we navigate this successfully? Because at the end of the day, it's about the team winning.
Yeah.
And if you don't know your teammate, it's going to be tough to win with your teammate. All right. So we out of here. Appreciate you, family. Blessings on you. We will see you. Yeah, we'll be around next week. We will see you next week.
Yes.
Have a conversation, folks. Peace.
Good night.